Hello, everyone. Welcome to Kudlow. I'm Larry Kudlow. So, yesterday we were all disappointed that neither President Biden nor Madam Psaki were willing to slam Cuban communism. But we're Americans together. Here's what I suggested last night. Some free advice for President Biden. Sir, it's okay to come out against communism. It's all right. Well, today I'm very proud of Madam Psaki, and I'm very proud of President Biden, who undoubtedly gave a green light to a fierce attack on Cuba and its totalitarian system. Take a listen. Hardline stuff.
Communism is a failed ideology, and we certainly believe that. It has failed the people of Cuba. They deserve freedom. This has been a government, an authoritarian communist regime that has repressed its people and has failed the people of Cuba.
Okay, good. Very good. I'm proud of them. They got it right. Now, just a couple additional thoughts on this whole business here about communism. In a communist system, there is no freedom of speech, no freedom of religion, no freedom of media, there's no elections, there's no democracy, there's no nothing. The state is everything. Now, outside of the czars and the commissars and the nomenclatura, the rest of the people in the communist regime, like the old Soviet Union or the old East Germany, or now Cuba and Venezuela, they have nothing, absolutely nothing. They are totally, someone once said, against the state, basically, the commissar, you say something against the state, the commissars are going to line them up against the wall and shoot them. Nobody knows how many people were killed by Joe Stalin. It could be 100 million. And add Mao Zedong to that. No one knows what the evil empires really did. But I want to make an economic point, because I still think there's a bit of confusion here. Communism is completely state-run. Okay, do we understand that? The state controls the means of production. They control all distribution systems, all consumer outlets. They control all prices. And, of course, there are no markets. The commissars set prices and production goals in these so-called 5-year plans. Remember that? Of course, all that stuff failed down through the years. My former boss, Ronald Reagan, was completely right when he kept arguing that the internal contradictions of Soviet communism, meaning the collapse of their economy, would doom them to the dustbin of history. Nobody believed him, but the Gipper was absolutely right. Remember the old Soviet phrase, you pretend to work and we pretend to pay you. Now, having said all that, just definitionally, there's a big difference between that old Soviet communism, which is still practiced today in places like Cuba and Venezuela, and the kind of woke, socialist-like tendencies of today's Democratic Party. It's a big difference. Don't get me wrong. I'm not red baiting here or anything like that. But the reason I'm using the term woke economics is that, in general, woke has come to mean left-wing ideology, left-wing politics. You might say the economics of redistribution, not growth. The economics of income leveling, so-called equity at the finish line instead of opportunity at the starting line. It's, tax the rich, class warfare. And, of course, woke's various representations of identity politics are in all that as well. Now, to me at least, and this is where I want to go on this, this new $3.5 trillion plan that's coming out of the Senate Democrats is representative of a more central planning, government control over our economy than anything, anytime previous in our history. Now, look it, this is not seizing the means of production, but it is moving in a direction that is socialistic and, frankly, is moving outside the normal boundaries of American politics. Let's face it. This Democratic Party is completely different than the one I supported in my youth, helping Ed Muskie and Daniel Patrick Moynihan and Al Lowenstein. These people still believed in capitalism. They still believed in freedom, and they did not believe in central planning. Pat Moynihan was quite right when he argued that the growing Great Society welfare state would cause dependency and ultimately damage to the very minority groups we're trying to help. Today's Democratic Party is completely different than Bill Clinton. Today's Democratic Party, I think, is proposing policies that are inappropriate and threatening our prosperity. No, our economic freedoms are being curtailed with this massive statist effort. We are already, as you know, in an economic boom. Whether temporary or not, inflation is soaring. So the last thing we need is huge spending, which is going to generate continued massive deficits that will be partly, largely monetized by the Federal Reserve. And that, by the way, is not going to reduce inflation, it will increase inflation. The last thing we need also is massive tax hikes across the board, which will cripple investment and production and employment and wages. So, in effect, this government planning on a grand scale presented by our Democratic friends will be increasing demand and curtailing supply. Now, that is, if it's legislated, I think the result's going to be a collapse of King dollar, a permanent jump of inflation, and a major decline in the economy. This is the last thing we need. I don't want President Biden to preside over declinism, but that's what we're getting. And we will have declinism at home and weakness abroad. There is no beacon of free enterprise and democracy beamed around the world. I don't want Mr. Biden to manage economic decline or any other decline. I want to let the animal spirits soar. I want to let free enterprise be unlocked. We are having a terrific boom right now, and as I've said a million times on this show, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Unfortunately, the fix or the cure is a lot worse than the disease. And I will say this, in my judgment, this fiscal plan coming out of the Democratic Senate, coming out of the White House, coming out of the House, this is a solution in search of a problem, but it is going to make the whole situation worse. So let me bring